So this is part 2 of aquascaping my 40-gallon breeder tank, and I ended up ordering a piece of driftwood from Temu, and it is supposed to deliver today. And the thing about ordering from Temu with something like this, you don't exactly know what piece you're going to receive, like what it's going to look like, and if it will be a shape that, you know, works with what you're thinking in your head as far as your design. So it should be here later today. I'm hoping that it is a gorgeous piece. I do have good luck ordering from Temu. The other piece that I have in the tank right now is from Temu, and I love it. It's gorgeous. I love that piece. And then I ordered another piece from Temu, and it was just like, what, like the roots, like a lot of times I don't know exactly what, you know, which woods make great driftwood, but I know that they do use rhododendrons sometimes. And like, you know, like a root system is very like, you know, you've got thick big roots, you've got thin roots, you've got all this, and the piece that I got recently, it's like they blunt cut the roots. So you've got like the base of the plant, and then you've got like some roots that are still like, you know, okay, it's got a shape to it, but then you've got like the roots that are like, I don't know if it's like, I think it's probably like where the plant like would start branching, and they just like blunt cut all of it. And I can show you, but I kind of like, I bought some mosses, aquarium mosses, and I ended up shoving it down, so you can't really tell that it's like the way it looks with the blunt cuts. I'll see if I can find a picture or a video of it to share, but I'll show you what it looks like now. So that's the piece in there, and like the bottom of it is okay. You know, you've got the base there. Sorry it's so reflective. Let me see if I turn this light off, if that'll help. Not really, but you can see there where it was blunt cut, blunt cut, blunt cut, and then it's in the back as well. It's blunt cut all the way. Like every piece that was branching is just cut like that, and it just seemed very weird, and I didn't really enjoy that shape. But now that I've got the mosses in there, and the mosses are actually like starting to grow now. I put those in, they've been there for about 2 months now, and the mosses are growing, so it's kind of covering it up, and it looks really nice to me now. But at first it was just like, it was really an eyesore to me. So once our new piece gets here, we will unbox it, and then I will probably end up boiling it before I put it in the tank. It's likely that this piece won't sink. I hope it does, because that's why I have a rock tied, or a stone tied to the other driftwood in the 40-gallon, because it floats. And driftwood is kind of like, there's really not a great, like I couldn't give you a time of if I just floated it in the aquarium of when it would actually sink. But boiling does help. But again, there's no like definitive timeline as to when driftwood will sink. There are some people I've heard that their driftwood's just been floating for months and months. So I like to take the approach of, I'm gonna tie it to a piece of rock and sink it, and that works for me. Eventually, hopefully I won't need to keep it on a rock, but I don't want to test that. Like I just want to tie it to the rock and just forget about it, unless I need to rescape this tank again, which I hope I never have. Well, I hope I don't have to rescape it anytime soon. So yeah, well, let's check back once the piece gets here, and then if I'm feeling up to it, I will start gluing plants to it, and we can, you know, take the next step. gorgeous. Wow. So this piece is gorgeous. I love it. So I'll be able to glue some plants on for sure. I can tuck in, you know, like a bulb here, glue some, you know, things there, and maybe leave this open. It's got this hole here that goes through, like through this way. So could probably put something there or leave it open for the fish and shrimp or, you know, dwarf crayfish to climb through. But I am really happy about this piece. It's big, it's heavy. It probably won't sink even though it is heavy, but man, this is even perfect for like a fish, like a terrarium, or even if you've got like, you know, lizards, frogs, you know, if you're not keeping a fish tank, this is great for reptiles and amphibians. Look how cool. It's such a good piece. It's big too. Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy. Now let's go and look at our other driftwood piece. Okay, this is a better view, but look at those two pieces together. It's so reflective. I apologize. I'm trying to not like, try to get in a position where it's not reflecting the background on the fish tank. But anyways, here's the two pieces. Okay, that's my first Temu driftwood piece, which I love because you see how spidery the roots are, the stems are. We've got skinny ones, and thicker branches. And then we've got this piece, which is a solid piece. You know, there's no branching, it's just a chunk of wood. And then this was also a Temu piece as well, which is really nice. I didn't expect it to be like a log, but I had it in my other fish tank, and the smaller creatures, so like the loaches and our shrimp and our dwarf crayfish, they loved climbing all over this. So it's a great piece too. Yeah, so all three of these are Temu. And I think this one didn't ship locally, but these two shipped from the US. This one shipped from someplace else. I'm not sure where. And this one was, I think, about 25 bucks. This one was 20. I'll double check these numbers. And then this one was a little cheaper. It is cheaper to buy from Temu as opposed to in your pet stores. I've priced this out myself, and it just is. Like, if you want a good big piece, you're gonna pay the same amount of this piece for something smaller in store. So that's why I bought from Temu, and I haven't had any problem shopping with Temu. I like Temu a lot. So let me show you something else. Here is my light that just got here. It's a Higher aquarium light LED. It is 60 watts, and it should be plenty for this tank and the plants in the tank. I'm not doing a CO2 tank. CO2 is something that like you add into the water to help the plants grow, but you got to have like this tank on the side and all these tubes. Like I'm not at that point in this journey where I'm comfortable doing that yet, or comfortable spending the money for that, because that can get a little bit expensive. So I'm sticking with my filter, my grow light, fertilizers, and hopefully that will be enough to grow some decent plants. Now, I will say with the CO2, it seems like the plants grow super fast and really big, but we're just gonna take our chances and grow like this. I have my other tanks are growing without CO2, so it's definitely not a requirement to have, you know, a beautiful lush tank. And I've seen other people's tanks that are CO2 free that are growing really beautifully. So I think it's just a matter of where you are in the journey, aquarium journey, and what you want to, you know, what you're ready to handle. So I think for me, simplest is best for everything. Simple is better. Outside of watching YouTube videos and following the Facebook groups, this book has also helped a lot. It definitely helped inspire me to start my aquascaping journey. I didn't start off that way this year. I had gravel and barely any plants, but now I want something lush and green and beautiful. This is a Hygge grow light, and I got this from Amazon. It was on a Black Friday deal. It was $59, and it's a pretty, I would say this is a pretty expensive light. It was the cheapest that I found with the most watts. So I'm gonna give it a try. If it doesn't, it should work, but I only got one, and I'm wondering if I should have got two just to cover both sides of the tank. Cool. This looks so cool. I almost feel like I should put like a bearded dragon or something in here, or a snake or something, but how cool is that? I do like the placement of the driftwood, so I think I'll leave it as is. I am gonna push this down into the sand a little bit more. This, I gotta see if this guy is gonna float or sink. So I might, I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I feel like boiling him or not. He will likely release tannins in the water, and that will change the water color. But with water changes, that will, it'll go away eventually. But I don't mind a tannin tank. And I can show you what one looks like. I do have one that has a lot of tannins in it. Let's go take a look. So this look is created by crushing up leaves and allowing them to be in your fish tank. So the leaves float at first, and then they will come down to the bottom, but they leak out color basically. So that's how you get a tank that looks like this, or from your driftwood. I think the hardest part of the aquascaping process is figuring out exactly where you want stuff. And you know, you can look at everyone else's tanks all day long, but when it comes to building your own and like
like you're placing these things in a semi-permanent position. So you want to make sure that it looks good from all angles. You want to make sure that it is something that you can live with for months or years, or however long you keep this tank put together. It's difficult. And I can be so indecisive at times. So this is very painstaking for me. So now we're going to go ahead and use the fishing line and get the driftwood tied onto this rock. This will keep the driftwood from floating, and it will keep it in the spot that I want it to stay in. And this is really easy to do. Just wrap the fishing line around the rock and the stone and tie it together. And then you want to make sure you tie a few knots in that, and I wrap it at 2 different points and then tie a couple knots. And then in the other driftwood, I actually like used a lighter and burnt the ends of the string, but this one I didn't do that, so hopefully it will still be fine and won't come undone. Now that I've got the driftwood tied, it's time to glue some plants onto this. And I'm going to be honest with you up front, I did glue plants to my fingers. I don't know why I thought, I would be the exception and would not get glue on my fingers, but I did. And this aquarium glue is just like super glue. It's super strong, and that's what it's meant to be like. So I had little fern plants stuck to my fingers for the whole day. I got it off, but it took a couple hours of picking to get it to come off. But yeah, so just be careful if you're gluing things with super glue. I mean, I'm sure you guys already have had that experience, but it's a little different to have like a live plant glued to your hands. It was very weird. After I finished this, I ended up gluing some plants onto a smaller piece of driftwood, and I really like the way this one looks. That's pretty cute. And then we'll go ahead and place that in the tank where I think it should go. Now, what's nice about this piece of driftwood is that I can move it around if I want to, because it's not attached to anything. Now it's time to put this big piece in, and I do really like the spot that it's in. I think this will look really good, especially as the plants fill out and fill in around these driftwood pieces. They're both really different. You could tell they're 2 different pieces of wood, but I like having something for the eye to, lock onto, and then move you around the tank and then lock onto another big piece. So this piece, I'm not going to remove it from the tank to glue plants to it. I'm just going to do it while it's in there because I've already got it placed where I want it to go and put rocks around it. But this was really simple to do. I also got glue stuck to my fingers from this, but thankfully the plant stayed on the driftwood and didn't come back off and stuck to my hands. So now we're placing our first plants into the substrate, and I could tell you doing it with no water in it is just so difficult. But watching this back now, I'm like, whoa, why didn't you put the water in? But I wise up later, don't worry. It's just I had to go through the process in order to wise up and make a different choice. But it's just funny watching myself go through this and do this, and I'm just like, there's such a better way, but it's coming up. And I believe this is the Bacopa that I'm putting in right now. Identifying aquarium plants, and remembering how they look is still very new to me. So definitely I think that is the Bacopa, and I will try to either voice identify the plants for you or put them up on the screen. But I did show you all of the cases that they came in. So we could always refer back to those. And here I am wising up and putting some water in here like a big girl. Go me. And this is where it gets much easier from the standpoint of planting and putting this all together. Once I got the water in, it just was so much easier to move around the sand and push that sand back around the roots to hold the plants down. So the tank is finally planted and this took hours. But let me show you what I used to fertilize, and it's this Thrive, and I got this from Amazon. It is one pump per gallon. So I will do 4 pumps into this. And this is something that you do once a week. And then you also want to do a slight water change with it. But since this tank was just filled up, I'm not going to do a water change. But yeah, that's how I fertilize the plants along with the fertilization in the substrate. I won't add any fertilizer capsules to this just yet, but you know, probably in a few months I'll start using capsules in the soil as well. But this is what I love about aquascaping, is watching the plants grow and thrive, and that's what I hope will happen with this tank. That's why I want to take some time before I add in any fish or any, you know, anything in this tank, because I want the plants to take off first before I do that. I think the plants with the driftwood, with the rocks, it's so much into the details that make this so wonderful. The little imperfections, the twisty branches of the driftwood, and you know, even the texture and the smoothness and the bumpiness and the roughness, it all adds to, you know, the visual interest of keeping a fish tank. And that's why I love this so much. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. This has been really exciting to build. It is time consuming, it is costly, and hopefully everything that I planted in there and everything that I've done will take and flourish. That's the hope. But thank you guys so much for watching. This is part 2, so if you missed part 1, go back and watch it and then come back to part 2. But everything that I can tag in the description, I will do so for anyone who is looking for anything. This tank I got from Petco, stand I got from Amazon, and plants I got from Petco. But I'll try to tag everything that I can for you to find it easily. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that you saw in this video, or even the last in part 1. Yeah, and if there are any more experienced people out there, more experienced fish keepers, aquascapers, feel free to leave your tips for me. I am happy to get tips. I am always wanting to learn more or correct anything that I'm not doing right. So thank you all in advance, and I'll see you in the next videos. Bye.